Hello, 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 everyone. How are you? It's Tarot Tuesday, Tarot Reviews Day, and I'm really kind of thrilled to show you the deck that I have for today. And so I told you that through the month of April, I was going to be doing a series of earth-based decks. And because yesterday was an earth-based holiday, 420, and because Earth Day is, I think, today or tomorrow, I have a deck that integrates both things, and it is the Metaphysical Cannabis Oracle. Isn't that a lot of fun? So I saw this at Books A Million, and I was just like, what? Why is there a cannabis deck? This is amazing. But this deck, it's so awesome. It's beautiful, it's colorful, it's magical. Look at the packaging. Like, I love these kinds of details. And it's got a really cool little magnetic flap on the bottom, right? So she's gonna stay in place. And this is a really, really, really great deck to use because, so you know how I like to talk about like the theory of the deck and what the author is intending. So this author is bringing together influences. So the author's from Nigeria, but is also using influences from their travels. And so they have learned about plant medicines from Lakota and Cherokee tribes, and have learned about plant medicines from Mayan, Korean, and Egyptian cultures, in addition to their homeland of Nigeria. And so the artwork also takes us on this like really beautiful kind of global journey that's very, very rooted is the word that I kind of want to use in basically the spirit of the plant and how plants in general, because this is not just about cannabis, like there are plant spirits associated with every card, like lavender and lemon balm and chamomile, right? So this is a great, great card. I literally just used it in a reading a few minutes ago when someone asked me a medical question. So this is when I like to break out this deck, is because there's a lot of medical intentionality with this deck. It's how do we work with any kind of plant spirit ethically? How do we work with plant spirits in right relationship with the earth and in right relationship with ourselves, right? And so that's very, very important because a lot of people, like, I mean, no judgment. You got to do what you got to do, you know. But you, like, when you're working with, especially with strong plant spirits, you've got to be doing it in right relationship, or it's just going to be maybe like a reflection of, not a judgment, but just an observation, a reflection of, you know, what's going on inside a little bit. So there are many valid medical uses for just about any kind of plant spirit. Yay! So that was my soapbox. All right, so let's take a look at the deck. Again, like just beautiful, fun, whimsical artwork. Some of it is very inspired by tarot, and a lot of it is like fantasy inspired. I get the feeling that some of it's sort of manga inspired. But some really, really beautiful, I think that the illustrator has a really beautiful style. Like I love like how softly the light works on her. Like there's really interesting soft light and a really just a fun use of colors, right? We've got pinks, blues, reds, greens. So it's like using some opposites on the color wheel and then softening that up a bit, you know, to create like this sort of dynamic tension that the author wants for that card. So the author has divided this into a few different suits, and some of them are actually taking the archetypes from the major arcana and kind of giving them a little bit of a quantum shift. And the author calls this the meta arcana instead of the major arcana. And yeah, this is a really cool one. And there's a lot of like beautiful diversity, a lot of pulling from folklore, from all the different places that this author has studied. So we're looking at Mayan folklore, we're looking at Korean folklore, we're looking at Nigerian folklore. So some really, really interesting and cool inspirations coming through for the artist of this deck. And then a lot of just like urban, like inspiration from like urban environments. And yeah. And each one of these has an interesting story. So you have the Meta Arcana, which is taking archetypes from the major arcana and really bumping it up. You have like a physical suit for, so like how are we using medicine within the body? We have our integration suit for how do we kind of thread plant wisdom into our lives. So there's a lot of different ways and approaches that this author is using. And we have like inhalers featured, we have tinctures featured, like different tools for dispensing medicine, right, are being honored here. So it's a really cool deck from somebody who just like, there's like, it's affection and respect for the medicine that I'm getting from the artwork and really from the energy of this deck. I remember when I interviewed this deck, because whenever I get a new deck, I like to interview it to find out, you know, what kind of readings are you best for? What kind of work should we be doing together? What kinds of, what kind of help can I receive from you? What can you receive from me? Like, what kind of relationship, like, what's the potential of our relationship? And so as I remember very clearly, for some reason I remember that I was drinking a lavender latte with coconut milk when I was interviewing this deck. So there's some point, maybe I was working with Mother Lavender while I was working, interviewing this deck. And I remember that when I looked at that reading, I got a card from every single suit. Like every suit was represented. And so what I got was that this deck is really, really great. Like if it's something you're interested in, it's really great for doing readings in terms of like if somebody has a medical question. It's also obviously make sure you're telling your parent to like go see a doctor, because tarot card readings and oracle card readings are not substitutions for medical care, but they can be very supplementary to it, right? It's super valid to bring a medical question in. It's also really, really great for helping someone understand like what might be preventing them from using a plant medicine in right relationship. It's a great deck for helping somebody understand how to integrate medicine appropriately as a supportive practice in their everyday, right? So there's all kinds of ways and contexts that a deck like this can be used in a reading. And so I don't reach for it super often because I don't often have those sorts of questions, but when I need it, she shows up and she comes through. She's like, don't use me for just any old thing. She told me that in the deck interview. She's like, don't use me for any old thing. Use me with love, respect, and great intention, and I will help you understand how not just cannabis, but the earth itself and anything upon and within it can be integrated in your program of healing. But this deck is a healing deck. It's a healing deck more than anything else at the end of the day. So absolutely gorgeous. And the artwork, the colors that are being used, that soft lighting. It's very inviting. It's a very beautiful deck. Things are very nicely well rendered, but they're not so sharp and crisp. There's a little bit of a blur on most of everything that I find very appealing, right? And kind of bringing you into, it's like a magical realism, right? Where it's not exactly surrealism where we're completely in a dream world. There's something very realist about the deck, but there's something about that blur and the softness of the light and the color choices and the iconography that brings us into a heightened version of the real world, like a more ideal version of the real world, a more healed version of the real world. So rather than Earth, we're thinking of Mother Gaia, right? The oversoul of the world. So beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. So let's give her a little shuffle-roo and see what wisdom she has for us during Earth Month, Earth Day, 420 for those who celebrate, right? And you don't need to be somebody who uses this medicine, because I use the medicine, but very infrequently. It's somebody who uses the medicine. You don't have to be someone who uses the medicine, I think, to get beneficial effects from this deck, because it honors all plant medicines. It suggests many different types. And so if it's something that you're comfortable, like, comfortable with, I think she has a lot of wisdom to offer. So what wisdom would you like to offer to the collective today as we're celebrating Earth Month, or we're thinking about the Earth? I feel like you. Truth. Ooh. Truth Aura. So this is one of those decks where you need the book because it's very comprehensive. So let's take a look and see what this card has to teach us. Truth Aura. So truth is 104. Let's take a look. I'm going to read, and then I'll see if I get any intuitive hits. So this is the suit before the culture suit. So this is from the integration suit, right? So that means that the intentionality of this card is something that is meant for its wisdom for us to kind of thread into the everyday, something to kind of thread into the way that we maybe look at life or the world. So truth, if this card has come up for you, it's time to find the truth. This light is inside us all, and the more we are our truest selves, the more this light builds. The truth card is about diving into the inner child years, and lifting the veil at a time when someone made you feel less like yourself. Deep healing, y'all. At some point, you began protecting yourself, as noted by the cloak hanging in the expansiveness of the white aura. The suppressed emotions of the child became the shadow work of the adult. You are good enough. Creating happy inner personalities helps manifest your joyful personality reality. So they're saying, work with the diamond, right? New thought pattern. It is easy for me to express my needs. I am loved exactly how I am. And this one comes with a meta tip. Place one hand on your heart and one hand on your third eye. See a burning white flame alchemizing the old thoughts, programs, and lighting up your heart with the energy of truth. Wow. So this is wonderful. This card is about inner alchemy and personal alchemy, which, by the way, is sort of the focus of my my business, Livy and Lantern. So if you feel the need and this card is kind of like hitting for you, please send me a DM if you feel like you're interested in a reading towards some sort of personal alchemy or shifting effectively from one identity into the other, working with that space of the void appropriately. So what I'm getting here is a very important principle of personal alchemy, right? That when we are in those moments of void, the dark nights of the soul, right, we have these inner children, like the inner child, right? And our shadows or our sometimes inner saboteurs are often protectors, and their job is to protect that inner child, right? And so our shadows have a lot to do with reparenting those inner children. And we do that by identifying the inner saboteur, the protector, and making friends with it, right? So I've been doing a lot of this work myself. And I feel like I need to talk about this a little. So there are parts of all of us whose inner child got shamed for something. Like, I was a child, I was dancing in a public space, and I got told off for being there were too many eyes on me, we'll say it that way. And it's not my fault if grown men are looking at a 7-year-old while she's dancing. Maybe go talk to the men. But my inner protector, like my inner protectors are those people who want to protect that integrity, want to protect the child from getting punished, right? And so maybe I had a complex around being seen while dancing, right? And now I'm a belly dancer. I teach belly dance. But for a very long time, especially in my teenage years, I was very about dance and about dancing, when in fact I have a lot of natural grace and carriage. And so maybe maybe I was not born with a body for a ballet dancer, right? But expressing myself through dance actually does come incredibly easy for me when I'm not judging myself. And so when I took belly dance as an adult, I had to confront that shadow, that person who did not want to be seen dancing, right? And it was preventative in some ways. Like even when I was dancing professionally with Cash Flower Project, I was judging myself all the time, which was not, it was like really annoying probably for the people I was dancing with, but I was judging myself a lot. And I even still today have some work kind of breaking through and just allowing myself to kind of move and dance and be seen. So what does my story mean for you? It's going to mean something maybe a little bit different. When you have those fears, feelings of shame, feeling of something not being good enough, that's an invitation. That's an invitation for you to find that truth, to go in and say, who are you? How old are you? Right? Maybe you'll find that sometime in your 20s, somebody shamed you for being too loud. Or when you were a teenager, you got punished for making too much noise when you didn't know you were bothering anybody. And these might have been innocent mistakes, but something in you might have recorded that. And now there's this shame with your being too loud, right? Like, or like shame around whatever issue. So when you get curious and you think about that, you'll notice that those bad feeling states that you might go into are really just your people who are trying to protect your inner child, right? They want to protect that inner child from getting punished, from getting yelled at, from not experiencing joy, freedom, or love, right? So if you're going through a period right now where you're feeling a little dark, you're feeling a little depressed, you're feeling some shame, a great deal of shame, or a debilitating amount of shame around something, right? Think hard about the first time. Try and go back, because you might have to go through several portals. Try and find a version of you that felt that, right? Like that got shamed for doing something. And then see if there's another one behind that door and another one behind that door until we get back to the first time that you felt that shame or were made to feel that shame. Because we don't come in feeling, I don't know why I'm fixating on shame, because it's shame, it's fear, like whenever you're in a bad feeling state, that bad feeling state is usually triggered from the first time you felt that bad feeling state. So think about it. Think about it. Think about those different layers, because as you reparent yourself, those shadows that we tend to have are invitations for us to heal and grow and really bring us closer to who it is that we want to be. Because a lot of times when we're on that path to who we want to be and we start to feel fear or shame or doubt or self-loathing, it usually has to do with one of those shadows usually has to do with someone that's trying to keep that inner child healthy, protected, loved, right? Free, joyful, right? So think about that, right? That's the wisdom that our cards have for us today. I love you all so, so much. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Have a wonderful week, and I will be back with another Earth-based deck for Earth-based April next week. Bye-bye.